tear the ribbon, please. Each of you tear your ribbon. What we're doing now, the word is Korea. It is called the rending of the garments. For the first degree relatives, the children, and if there were any siblings, because the fabric of our lives has been torn by our loss of Anita. As we tear this fabric over our hearts, we reflect our grief and our tears. Wendy, Alan, family, friends, cyberspace, friends and family. Adonai Natan ve'Adonai Lakach. Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. You have given us the life of Anita, Hannah, Stecker, Rosenstein. And now that life has been taken from us. What is a human being, God, that you care about her? The daughter of man and woman, that you notice her. Life is short. It often seems like a fleeting shadow, like the flowers that blossom in the day and shrivel in the night. So teach us here to make each day count. Give us a heart filled with wisdom and love, like the heart of our beloved Anita. Match our days of sorrow with joy, as the psalmist said, for all the years that we live. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears, they will reap in joy. You see, the thing about being a parent, it doesn't end. It doesn't end with age, and it certainly doesn't end with death. Wendy, Alan, Sean, Lissa, Kayla, Kimberly, Katie, Ashlyn, Idric. Anita will always be your mother. She will always be your grandmother. And she will always be your great-grandmother. And she will always, always, always love you. So, good morning, Anita. I know, this is more like sunlight at the cemetery than moonlight in the chapel. And I am really deeply honored that your family chose me to help sing your praises and pray your way home. Yeah, the same guy from Sean and Anna's wedding, right. Yeah, different face shield. They said you don't miss too much, Anita. I guess they're right. All right, well, today's not going to double as a reveal party for Steve's new breast plants, Anita, I promise you. Okay, all right, look, Louise will check to make sure that the picture of Steve still hangs over your toilet. And no, it's not 5 o'clock yet, so no wine. There is a mahjong game upstairs, but that can wait a few more minutes, okay? You know, I asked Wendy and Alan and Steve to help me with what to say, and they sure did. Honestly, Anita, I feel like I should just stop and be leading everyone here in a 10-minute standing ovation for a life well lived. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, Mom, speaking of thank yous, we need to recognize Louise Berberian for her love, kindness, her generous time, the great gift she bestowed on you during your final act. Yeah, you know, me too. I'm sorry we didn't have some alone time at the wedding to play a good round of Jewish geography together. Yes, ma'am, you are a long way from 1919 Williamsburg. Anita, a century from the Brooklyn that you, my parents and grandparents grew up in. From Erasmus Hall High School, where my mother and Esther and my Aunt Grace went to school with you in the same decade. From the Ebbets Field of your Brooklyn Bums, your beloved Brooklyn Dodgers, Or my dad, Jay, might have sold you the peanuts or popcorn you ate while you cheered them on fanatically. Your dad, Dr. Samuel Stecker, my grandpa, Dr. Jacob Bruder, DDS, both Jewish dentists from Brooklyn. That's a small fraternity, Anita, who bought all their professional books from my Uncle Leo's publishing house and bookstore in Brooklyn. How you love to watch your father work in that dental office in Manhattan, where you watched the Empire State Building being built. And then 80 years later, the triumphant return. Wendy, Steve, and Norm, the younger man you were dating, you led them through that city as if you would continue to live there all of your life. Your memory for the smallest detail, the address of the home you lived in when you were 2 years old. You outperformed the tour guide driver they had hired. What a side hustle you could have had in that city. And you traveled far and wide as a dedicated cruisonaut. 53 cruises in all, but who's counting? But there was one very special one. A peak experience, a crowning moment in your life, literally, since they made you wear a crown on that Disney cruise. Celebrating your 100th birthday with 22 members of your family, your mishpacha, as we said in Brooklyn. And over and over and over, one refrain could be heard on that cruise. Are you really 100? Are you really 100? Let's just stipulate that Disney cruises aren't very heavily populated without the cockers. Anita, you turned that Disney cruise into the Love Boat. It was filled with hugs and more hugs and dozens of happy birthday songs. Grandma Lissa said it best. If it wasn't for the fact that she kept having birthdays, no one would ever really know her age. We all just assumed she was immortal. She taught me that age really is just a number, and that's it. Look, forget when Harry met Sally. I want what she's having was a question that should have been asked of you instead. And your answer was always simple. I owe my longevity to having a glass of wine every night. Anita, you were basically a living history book for your entire family. Your great-grandchildren wouldn't have had to Google things like switchboard operator to find out what the heck that was. They had you to explain how it was done back in the day, because you once did that job. Here's how your niece Sandy Weiss tells it. Anita was the last of her generation in our family and held a special place in the hearts of all of us. Spending time together always gave us both time to reminisce. And remarkably, Anita could remember details of her family, the early years of her marriage, and of coming to California. She had these great stories to share with me, including her train trip to Los Angeles, and of my mother's introducing her to avocados, which she confided she still didn't like. Lisa again. Lisa again. Thank you so much. The only one I didn't ask you how is that pronounced. Lisa, said Cantor Marc, as I'm sure you're hearing a ton. There are no few words to sum up my grandma. She was the matriarch of our family for sure, and there was no one who would question that. She was vivacious. She had a love for life of itself. Rarely did she complain, but when she did, it's often because she was bored, or none of her friends could keep up with her. Favorite life lesson: keep busy, keep moving. She taught me a love for cards, and she would tell me how she went to work 6 days a week, playing cards, that is. If I wanted to visit, I'd have to call ahead for an appointment. LOL. But of course, she would always have one available for me. If I could carry on any trait that she had, said Lisa, I hope it's her positivity. She was always in a good mood, smiling, gracious, cheerful. Sandy said that about you this way. She was so very happy to be with her family. She would always join into all of the festivities at every chance. There was a perpetual smile on her face. And Lauren Bestman echoed them all. She was so vibrant, so full of life, such a character with a great sense of humor. Anita, you wrote full chapters in your own book of life. Our lives, they're God's gift to us. But what we do with our life, that's our gift to God. And your life, Anita, is a massive, awesome gift back to God and to your family and to your friends and to the causes and charities you supported with your time and your geld, your treasure, the National Council of Jewish Women, the City of Hope. You know, I really, truly admire your superpower, Anita. You were always kind and gentle when things went wrong, when things went south. That is not something you learned in Brooklyn, Anita. That came from inside. You know, you have a very, very special legacy. We're looking at some of them right here. Mom taught us how to read, about life, about the right way of living, how to relate to people. You leave your family here with the hope and the will, that the kindness, the joy, the humor that you modeled for them for 101 years lives on in each and every one of them. And you have left them the most precious gift that you possibly could have. A deep, heartfelt satisfaction. Knowing that each one of them earned your pride in their own special way. The rabbis, they say that the collection of a person's wisdom is your Torah, your singular teaching. Each person has a unique Torah, their deepest, innermost teaching. Some know their Torahs very, very early in life. Some are long, some are short, but every soul has a Torah. And to hear another say Torah, this is a gift, a precious, precious gift, because each soul, by the time of his or her final hour, that Torah is complete and the teaching is done. There are so many words that describe you, Anita. Wife, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, cruiseaholic, card shark, and on and on and on. But those have to do with your roles in life and the things you mastered, the things you did. And there are lots of words that describe how you perform those roles and those skills and those pursuits. Your niece Donna summarized them. She lived life to the fullest, and she enjoyed every minute. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots of words that describe how your beloved family and friends see you now, Anita. Believe me, I know, because I sent them all an email to harvest those words. And let's just say my inbox overfloweth. Joy, memorable, a real character, involved, party girl, matriarch, beautiful, fun, all caps, capital F, capital U, capital N, fun. But there is, however, just one perfect word for a woman like you, Anita. One word that says it all. One word that summarizes your Torah, that summarizes your mission here on earth. And the word that each and every one of us know, that word is mensch, Anita. Mensch, a real human being. Kind, humble, compassionate, filled with joy and laughter, love and generosity, and loyal to family and friends. Your Torah, Anita, overflows with the attitudes and the deeds of a true mensch. Okay. Anita, daughter of Lena and Samuel, Hannah, Bat Rivaliah, Vishmuel. Your Torah is truly complete, and your teaching here is done. May we all be blessed and honored by your example. And may you now receive 101 times the blessings back to you that you bestowed on all these souls, your precious children, your great-grandchildren, your grandchildren, your family, your friends, and all the others whose lives you touched as a mensch during your lifetime. This morning we celebrate Anita. Even as we mourn her loss, we offer our gratitude for the many, many gifts that she gave us. And we begin with Alan. As I call upon you, please rise at your seat, turn and face as many of the people as you can, and speak as loudly as you can.
Wowie kapowie. After that speech, who can top it? I'll try it. I had a word for Mom, and I'd have to say the word is active. She was a very strong woman, as many of the women in our family are. She said her piece. There was no such thing as being silent. If Mom had something to say, well, she'd say it. She was supportive, and she was strong-willed, and she was very, very present. That's the one thing about her. She was always present. Long after I left home at 18, she'd call me and say, "This is your mommy." And I think that went up until the very last. Now, I was told, try not to say everything because other people want to speak. But one of the things having a senior moment, one of the things I'll say is she was, again, very supportive. She loved life, and she always loved a good party. I remember when I would have a birthday at my house, or my girlfriend at the time, Nancy, would have something at my house, and Mom would come up and I'd introduce her. I'm so proud to introduce her to my friends. This is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. And one of the things, the nicest thing she could say, having talked to her about it, is, "I feel I know you." You know, that was the nicest thing she could say. "I feel like I know you." And she did. She always asked me, "How's this one? How's that one?" And the kindness, especially when I was a child, holding me if a balloon popped or a toy broke too soon. That, you know, that was always what my mom was. We didn't always agree about everything. I'll be the first to say that. Sometimes we didn't see eye to eye about everything. But behind all that, she was a very dear person in my life. She established a lot of principles for me that I still do this day, sometimes for better or worse. But thanks, Mom, for everything you've given me, and I hope I can make you proud, even if I don't dress well.
Alibi.
What?
Alibi. It's like, yeah.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen. No politics.
Kayla.
Loud but
Her
no.
stem, her blurry her stem is standing, and then you can face off.
There are no words that can describe how amazing my great-grandmother was. I remember growing up, she'd always tell me how shy I was around her, and how I never would go to her. But eventually she grew to be someone that I always wanted to be with. The best memory I had with her was when I got my driver's license, and I told her that I was going to come down to see her. And I drove down, and she was so happy, and I'll never forget the smile that she had on her face. She told me so many stories about her husband, and, how her dad was the dentist, and her brother had to get braces, and so he flushed them down the toilet. That story always made her laugh. I wish I heard more stories growing up from her. She had such an eventful and full life, and I can't help but imagine how happy she is now that she's able to reunite with my great-grandfather. I found a small poem that reminded me of her. You rest in the arms of angels, in a place of peace and love, watching over me always from heaven above. You guide me through my worries, help me through each day, always by my side. Never really went away. The bond cannot be broken, made from love so pure. Death does not break the realize how special someone is until they're gone. And I know that Gigi will continue to live her long life in our minds and in our hearts.
Jimmy, would you like your dad to go first? Go.
Well, I've been known as the talker of the family, so here I go. First, I want to thank all of you for coming. Your attendance here and online speaks volumes about the impact that this wonderful woman had on all of us. I'm sure everyone here has memories much like mine. There are good memories, something we'll always have to cherish. This isn't often in our lives that we come across someone so special that person stays with you forever. Grandma was that kind of person. Some of you knew her as Mom, Grandma, Gigi, Neats, or simply Anita. To me and my sister, it was Grandma. To her 5 other grandchildren, or any other child or person that she came across, she said, "Just call me Gigi."
You're being called.
To all of us, she was a pretty amazing lady. Over 101 years, my grandma had seen the world change in front of her. A century of change. She was married over 50 years to the love of her life, Lou. It's only fitting that she lies next to him eternally. She was able to see her grandchildren go through life, which most only get a glimpse. Her son Alan go to school and through his career. Her daughter Wendy, married to my father Steve, welcoming him as a son, and having the opportunity not only to see their wedding, be a part of their lives, and even their 50th anniversary, while celebrating her 100th anniversary, or 100th birthday. She saw her grandchildren, Lisa and myself, be not only born, but grow through our lives, schooling and move into our careers. But if that's not enough, then being a part of our weddings, inviting Lisa's husband Dan and my wife Anna into the family as if they were her grandchildren. And the family kept growing. She was blessed to watch all 5 grandchildren born and grow for many years. My child Michaela, 17, Kimberly, 13, and Katie, 10. As well as my sister's children as well, Ashling and Adric. Last family get-together, she looked around the table with amazement and proud eyes, with tears coming from her eyes. She said, "I made this. I couldn't be more happier than I am right now." The only way to get hurt in life is to care. And Grandma cared more than most. She loved more than most. She lived a simple life, and it didn't take much to make her happy. A phone call or an Amazon drop-in, a card, a kiss just before saying goodbye. We were the most important people to her world, to her. She lived to make our lives better and was proud of all of us. As I thought to myself, what are some of the words that would describe my grandmother? And while I was thinking it was a simple task, I began to paint a detailed portrait of the woman we all knew and loved. Considerate, loving, selfless, nurturing, thoughtful, generosity, compassionate. Grandma was unbelievably compassionate. Her heart, her generosity knew no bounds. Her door was always open, literally, always open. She rarely closed it. You could just walk up, neighbors, friends, immediate family, wave, come in, and then she loved to play games, and she was a phenomenal card player. As children and as teenagers, and through adults, we always look forward to enjoying playing those games, but somehow she always won. Her laugh and her smile, her big kisses and her hugs. They were perfect. She was the perfect grandmother. We all are a little closer to perfection just to have her in our lives. She was there the day I was born, through my life in good times and in bad. I had the honor and the pleasure to be there the day she passed. Grandma, I want to say thank you and goodbye. I love you. You'll be missed.
Anna's about to read a wonderful passage that's found on the wall of a church in England, written by Henry Holland. And it's what we call a pre-Kaddish meditation. But it's also so important because, as Sean just said, his grandma lived to make all our lives better. And so one of the ways that we continue that mission, not only not to forget her, but to act as if she's always with us. And this is almost like a signpost, a direction of how to carry that forward. Huh?
Death is nothing at all. I have only slipped away into the next room. I am I, and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no airs, coarse air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Pray, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effect, without the trace of a sorrow on it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am waiting for you, an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well.
Katie? Katie has another pre-Kaddish meditation. A way to center ourselves, a way to understand this moment more deeply.
When I die, if you need to leave, cry for someone walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around others. Give them what you need to give me. You can love me most by laying hands touch hands, and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your joy, multiplying your good deeds. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes and not in your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember our Torah teaches how doesn't dying people do. All that's left of me is love. Give me away.
Louise, would you like to speak at this point? Thank you, Katie. While Louise is getting ready, is there anyone else who would like to speak before we conclude the service? Just give me a little. Thank you.
You know, I was lucky enough to have this family adopt me into their family. And Anita let me call her mom. And every time we went somewhere or did something, I referred to her as my mother. And I was lucky to have her as my second wife. She was funny. She had a zest for life. She always was going. And during these last months when she got a little discouraged, I reminded her that it's just a little hitch in your get-along, Mom. You know, in another couple weeks you'll be fine. She looked forward to being back to playing cards with her friends. And she had a lot of friends. And they stopped over and she enjoyed them and I enjoyed her and her friends. So I say that she's on vacation with the other side of the family. She's off on her new adventure and she's just waiting for when we come, she's going to show us the ropes. All the cool people, all the cool places to hang out. So we should every day, I still talk to her and I'm still waiting for her to come home. But I know that she's off with Lou and she's off with Norm and she's off with Polly and all the friends and family that went before her. And she's having a great time. And she's saying to all of us, don't cry for me. Oh, no, no. You guys are going to be fine. You're going to celebrate my life and keep going with your own lives. And I'm going to be watching you, and every time you waver, I'm going to be tapping you and going, hey, what are you doing? So, thank you, Mom, for letting me be a part of your life. And she had a lot of jokes, and she had a great sense of humor. And anybody who knew her just was so, they were pleased to be her friend. I used to say to her friends, you know, you're all blessed to have each other. And I hope that when we get to be 101, have lots of friends and family around us as well. So I'm going to cry. It's not going to make me cry any less, but I know that she's off on her next adventure. Love and life in a second. And who's to say that she won't have a great second life when she leaves this earth?
Thank you, Louise.
But I just want to share some words with you real quick. I've known Anita for over 30 years. We've been good friends. And I saw her a couple of days before she died. And when I saw her, she looked really good. And I said, Anita, how do you feel? She said, I feel good. All she could talk about with me was, when am I going to play cards again? And I said, oh, you will. I'm saving a seat for you, and I have to tell you that she was 101. And she and I, out of all the women who were 20 years younger than us, 30 years younger than us, none of them would play day and night. Only Anita and I would stay and play day and night. And all I could say is that she was a wonderful person, and she looked good, and she looked forward to becoming a great family. Gave to her Louise, loved chocolate Russian bars with almonds. And she was just a super wonderful person. So I just thought I'd share.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making the long journey to here. So, like Sean said, Anita was here in this life to make all our lives better, and now there's a little bit of work that we have to do together. See, we have to be here now to make her transition better, to help her and her soul to fly straight up. And so I want you to turn to the third page. Just open your book that I gave you. First page has got all sorts of pictures. Second page, all sorts of pictures. It's the big 8.5 by 11 booklet, not the staple book. There we go. And open it up, and it says Ancient Jewish Prayer for the Dead. our tribe has a lot of wisdom about how this journey at the end takes place. One of the most beautiful pieces of it is that there's only 2 prayers that are required of us. But I'd like to ask that we, because it's a little long, that we alternate. And so men first with me, and then women, and then men, and then women, so we can hear each other speak the words of the prayer, so we can bring our hearts to Anita's soul, so we can make sure that the work we do right now is done with a pure heart and with the deepest of kindness and intention. Because as we said before, whenever there was a difficult time, Anita met it with kindness and patience and grace. So let's bring all of her superpower to bear. Now, as I start, and then the ladies will respond. Men with me, please. Compassionate one, remember now the precious soul of Anita Rosenstein, who returned to the realm from which she originally had come to spend time with us in her life. Ladies, may her soul may her spirit be joined with the spirits of our ancestors Sarah and Abraham, with those of her beloved husband Louis, her parents Lena and Samuel, her brother Harold, and with the spirits of other great men and women who now dwell in the bliss of paradise. Ladies? You chose her to bring her back into being on our plane, and you chose to call her back to your realm in your own mysterious way, ladies.
Thank you for your life and
Renew in us the faith that in your unending love, death is but a journey of the spirit from the finite realm of this physical being to the infinite realm of your eternal embrace. For the soul of the human is a spark of the divine. Ladies? Yes. Yeah. El malei rachamim, shochem bamromim, chamsei menucha, nechona tachat kanfei hashechina, v'nishmat Chana bat Rivelia v'shmuel. Translate with me, everyone. Great power of compassion, who dwells in the realms of the high, bring forth true repose beneath the wings of your presence to the spirit of Chana bat Rivelia v'shmuel, Anita, daughter of Lena and Samuel. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, shalva nachama v'koach zikaron edna, alenu v'al kol yoshvel tevel. Translate with me. You, who creates harmony in the realm of the high, also bring to us harmony and peace of mind, consolation and strength of nurturing memory, upon us, upon all who walk, swim, and fly across the earth. The ancient Jewish prayer for the dead, the El Malei Rachamim. Malei Rachamim, Shochen Banomim, Chamsei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, B'malot Kiddushim, U'Tehorim, Kizohar Harakia, Mashirim, Eit Nishmat Chana bat Rivelia, Shalach Leholama, Began Eden Yahos Tireach, Beseter Kinafav, Leolamim, Yitzro Bitzro HaChaim et Nishmata, Adonai hu Nachalata, Yanuach al Mishkava Bishalom. Amen. We begin the process of lowering the casket into the earth. Takes a few moments. Those of you who would like to raise your voice in song, 3 words. We remember them. That's all you need to know. We remember them. In the rising of the sun, in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind, in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of the buds, in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky, and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves, the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year, and when it ends, we remember them. And when we are lost and sick of heart, we remember them. And when we are weary and we're in need of strength, then we remember them. When we have decisions difficult to make, we remember them. And when we all have achievements based on theirs, we remember them. So as long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, now a part of us, we remember them. Would the mourners please rise, and all who support the mourners in this moment? The final page of the pamphlet you've been given, the mourners' Kaddish. The Kaddish, our traditional memorial prayer, says nothing about death or dying. It is a powerful affirmation of life. Our tradition requires us now that we stand up, family and friends. We affirm our faith. There's meaning to our lives, and when we pass on, our spirit is implanted in the hearts of those we touched. This spirit guides and inspires the living to grasp not only the fragility of life, to seize every opportunity to live life to the fullest, like Anita did, to perform acts of loving kindness, and to use all of one's powers in the pursuit of excellence. Together with the Hebrew, I'll read slowly if you know it. If not, the words to the prayer are la la la. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah. Join me in the English. Help us, O Lord, to embrace the enduring. Bi'alma divra kirutei, v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, Uchaye Dekol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv V'imru, Amen. Teach us the value of time so that we don't squander our days. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivorach Leolam Uleomei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitroman V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shemei Dekudeshan Brichu. Everyone, protect us from ourselves as well as from others who seek to harm us. Give us the strength to fight off depression and cynicism. Help us affirm our belief in these ancient mysteries that have been our comfort, our strength, binding these generations one to another. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushavachata v'nechemata de'amiran bi'alma v'imeru. Amen. Inspire us with a sense of the sacred. Protect us from a numbing dullness of the soul. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. Remind us always to be nurturing to others, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, heal the sick, comfort the broken-hearted. May the memory of our loved ones always be an inspiration to us. May the Father and Mother of Peace grant peace to every mourning heart. And let us all say together, Amen. At the end of a Jewish funeral, when the casket's been lowered into the ground, the closest family and then the friends throw the first dirt over it. And by encouraging you to actively participate in this burial, to hear the earth landing on the casket, our tradition ensures that people recognize the reality of this and help to begin the process of letting go. Our traditional practice is for each family member to add 3 shovels of dirt to the grave using the back or the rounded part of the shovel rather than the scoop, to symbolically say how very reluctant one is to lose this precious one. And perhaps it's just our superstition, but it's also the custom for each person to return the shovel to the mound of dirt, because passing it directly to the next person in line is like handing them sorrow. So Wendy, Alan, Steve, Sean. Oh, say shalom b'mrumav. Oh, yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imeru, imeru, amen. Say shalom b'mrumav. Oh, yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imeru, imeru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. as all of us get a chance to throw some shovels of dirt, we ask that everybody here form 2 lines, and Frank will help you to form 2 lines, one facing the other, so that Alan and Wendy can walk between you in the tradition accompanying the mourners. And so when you're through with the dirt, please line up facing this way or facing that way, 2 lines so that they can pass through. All the world is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. All this world, it's just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. And above all, is not to fear it all. And above all is not to fear it all. Kol haolam kulo, gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od. Kol haolam kulo, gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od. V'ha'ikar lo lefachet klal. V'ha'ikar lo lefachet klal. All this world, it's just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. All the world, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. If everybody has shoveled, be prepared to receive. When you Alan, you come this way. There's a long form, a simple sentence that we say. It's more important that you know what this means, not just to say magic words, because they're in Hebrew. And so the traditional thing that we say to each mourner at this point, the sentence is Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Sha'ar Avalei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. And what it really means at its core is may you find a holy place of comfort. When we're stricken by our grief, we can't even imagine how we're going to recover wholeness. We can't know. Healing comes from a place we don't know yet. And if we're willing to admit at this moment in our lives that there are things we may not know, then there's just a possibility the unknown can reach out to us and carry us to a promised land of healing. Healing is not going to look the way you envision it from the land where you currently stand. But if you can open yourself to the possibility of the unknown, then there's a possibility of discovering this hamakom yenachem, the holy place of comfort in which your healing can be found. So as Wendy and Alan, the daughter and the son of Anita, pass through this line of love and comfort, meet their eyes and gently, in English, say the words, "May you find a place of holy comfort." May you find a place of holy comfort. And normally, at this moment, we would go back to Wendy and Steve's, and we would have a celebration of life and tell stories, but not this time. This time there is a small luncheon. But we are going to look forward, all of us, and all of us online too, when we're going to have a celebration of life party for Mom later, when we can all safely be together next year in proximity. She would like that, because Anita was a party animal. God bless you all. Go in peace. so sorry. I just thought the spelling was so beautiful. For me, it was like Alyssa. I need to get somebody's name. Oh, you do. Okay. I feel better already. Because I wrote them and said, how do you pronounce Stecker? How do you, I even asked how to pronounce Lewis. Is it Louis or Lewis? And for some reason, so I just hope we have enough. Based on, we had enough it is open. That just folds up and goes in the back seat. This goes. Thank you so much.